During the Ice Age, we had many predators in North America. The saber-tooth is by far the most famous, and it was a camel slayer. It weighed about 300 pounds, which is very large for a cat. It's about the same size as a modern-day African lion, which also weighs 300 pounds. Now, if we see these two cats side by side, they're about the same size. Their proportions are different because they have a different way of life, but they're about the same sized cat. Well, during the same time as the saber-tooth, during the Ice Age in America, we had a lion here as well that was as big as 4 African lions. The American lion weighed 1,200 pounds. It's the biggest cat that ever lived. And you compare that to a saber-tooth. And you compare that to an African lion. And you compare that to a human. This cat was the Tyrannosaurus Rex of the Ice Age, a top predator all throughout North America. Now, most people haven't heard of an American lion, and that's because it doesn't look as terrifying as a saber-tooth. Let's compare their teeth. When you look at these teeth side by side, the saber-tooth teeth look like daggers. These teeth are blunt, they're not razor sharp, they don't look very scary. This is the tooth of a generalist. This is the tooth of a specialist. This tooth will bite any animal anywhere and start chomping. This lion does not have a fear of breaking its teeth if it bites into bone. But the saber-tooth, its teeth are only built for cutting and severing the jugular veins of a camel. That's a very specific role in nature, where the American lion will hunt any animal and bite anywhere on its body. 2 more cats that very few people have heard of in the United States are the American cheetah and the cougar. Well, the cougar people have heard of, or the mountain lion. These are 2 very closely related animals, but all during the Ice Age we had a cheetah. This is a modern day cougar, which was also here during the Ice Age. This is an American cheetah. Now, these 2 cats have very different ways of life. They're about the same size and the same proportions, but the cheetah, the American cheetah, hunts by sight. It goes out in the grasslands, it looks for an antelope with its eyes, and it runs it down. The cougar hunts by smell. It lives in the forest, and it tries to sniff out and catch the scent of a deer and stalk it. And so because of that, if you look at the difference, the nasal cavity, the olfactory chamber of a cougar is very deep, it's huge, and its eyes are set pointing out. This is the build of an animal that hunts in the forest. The American cheetah, its olfactory nose, its whole olfactory chamber is smushed. It's got a pug face, and that's to make room to have bigger eye sockets that are set forward. So the American cheetah has forward set eyes like an owl because it's a visual hunter, and it has almost no sense of smell. So these were both here during the Ice Age. Today, only this one is left. During the Ice Age, there were many predators here in Utah and in North America, and the saber-tooth or the Smilodon might be the most famous. It wasn't the biggest cat we had during the Ice Age, but certainly the most ferocious looking. Those teeth, when we see them, a lot of people think it's a giant staple gun or a walrus going around stabbing things. But the truth is, the saber-tooth can only open his mouth that wide. Now that is 90 degrees, but look, there's only about 4 or 5 inches there. If he were to come up and try to bite, his teeth are actually in the way. His teeth are very skinny. And those teeth are skinny enough that they're not going to allow a bone to be bitten. That's going to break and snap those teeth. So the problem with a saber-tooth is whatever its prey is, it has to be able to fit in its mouth, and it has to be able to kill quickly, and it has to bite somewhere that doesn't have bone, so those teeth won't break. Now, saber-tooths have been found all across North America, and many people used to believe that they hunted woolly mammoths or bison, but their teeth just were not built to handle that kind of a job. So with the saber-tooth's special needs, its oversized teeth, the gap in its mouth, it had to hunt an animal that would fit. Something with no antlers, no fangs, no horns, no sharp teeth, but most importantly, an animal with a long, vulnerable neck. What's the only animal in North America that foot that bill? The American camel. During the Ice Age, we had several species of camels here in America. All of them had a long neck, just like modern camels. Now, this neck was supporting muscles, skin, fat the esophagus, but most importantly too, right down underneath here, there were 2 blood vessels. This is a very long neck, and the blood has to pump extra hard to reach the brain. Camels have an oversized heart for an animal their size. They have very high blood pressure. Any damage to those blood vessels, and they die very quickly. That is what these bones are for. These bones that stick down from the neck offer some protection for those blood vessels. But the saber-tooth was a perfect camel killing machine. We're going to see just how perfectly designed it is to do the job. So saber-tooths had oversized front paws. They would jump on a camel, give it a bear hug, and then they would bite through the neck and pull out. And you can see each of these. It's like a perfect puzzle piece to fit in. Now, if the tooth did hit any of these paddle-shaped bones, it can bite in between. The gap perfectly fits in between. Everything about a saber-tooth makes it a perfect camel slayer. We may think of them as being mammoth hunters, but in truth, they were built specifically for hunting camels.